Class, so I've created a data sheet very similar to the one that you will be using for your first assignment. As you can see, I have 10 subjects over here and all of their variables as far as age, sex, height, weight, hip, waist measurements. And I also have their resting heart rate and systolic diastolic pressure, as well as a waist to hip ratio. And that was calculated by just taking their waist in inches over their hip in inches. And it doesn't matter, centimeters or inches, just make sure that, that you use just inches or just centimeters. Okay. So down here, we're going to talk about mode, median, and mean. So these are measures of central tendency. So if you can recall from your general statistics class, a normal distribution, right? It's a normal bell-shaped curve. The measures of central tendency determine or describe the data that's within the middle of that bell curve. And so the mode is the most frequent score, so the most common score. So we can find that in Excel just by typing equals mode, parenthesis, and then going ahead and selecting that data, parenthesis. And so we see that the most frequent score, or at least of age amongst our 10 subjects, is 35. Okay. Now, a curve can certainly be bimodal. So for instance, if I was going to change this to 52, then that means we have two 35-year-olds and two 52-year-olds. How would Excel calculate that? Well, Excel likes to work in columns, at least in this case. And so we would delete this and we'd say equals mode, parenthesis. We would select our data set, and the first value we'll get is 35. But if we had enough room for this, we could drag it down and we can see that it's the 52 is there as well. Okay, so this, yeah, so definitely can be bimodal. Probably a lot easier to see if you were to graph it. So for this, what we're going to do is we're actually going to just take that formula all the way across our data set. Now, it's not necessarily going to work on the text right here. And if an NA value shows up, it means that there are no duplicates. So in this case, it's because it doesn't like text. So we're just going to delete that. And in this case, it just means that there were no duplicates. Okay, so we're just going to go ahead and get rid of that. So I'm going to want you to find the mode on our class data set that's posted on Blackboard. So the median is the middle score. So this is going to tell you that 50% of your data or your population falls to the left of that point and 50% falls to the right. And so to find that in Excel, we're just going to hit equals median, parenthesis, and we're going to select our data, close a parenthesis, and there we go. So 40. So as far as our population, okay, subjects 1 through 10, 40 years old is that middle value, which means that 50% of our subject population is younger than 40 and 50% is older than 40. And this is very easy to see, or a lot more clear, if we were to say graph it. So let's just look at a column chart, see how that turns out. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Let's do it this way. We're going to select that row of data, find a column chart, and there you go. All right, so not very large here. We can lose that. Okay. And if you can see this, maybe you can't, that here's our 40 years old, right, our 40 years old line, and we can go ahead and count. So we have 10 subjects, so we know that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are older than 40, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 are younger than 40. Okay, so that's the median score. Let's go ahead and delete that, and we're just going to carry this formula all the way across. Okay, and again, sometimes it just doesn't like text. So we can go ahead and format these. Let's see. it up just a little bit. Okay, that looks better. Add. Yeah. Okay, I'm just looking at my waist to hip ratio. I'd like to have two decimal places there. Okay, and so the mean is the average. This is probably the most accurate measure of central tendency, and to do this, to find the mean in Excel, it's equals average, parenthesis, and then go ahead and select your data. Okay, so our mean age in this subject population is 41.5 years. So again, we're just going to carry that across. Does not like text. Let's clean it up just a little bit. All right, and there you go. So for our entire population here, our 10 individuals, these are the measures of central tendency. Now, what I would like you to do for our class data is to find these values here for both men and women in our class.